Welcome to the Mind Forge, crafting brilliance, one thought at a time. Imagine that every experience in your life, whether joyful or painful, has a deep purpose. What if I told you that, according to Buddhism, nothing happens by chance? Stay with us and discover how this ancient philosophy teaches us that everything has a reason. Join us on this journey of self-discovery and find inner peace by understanding this profound teaching. Everything happens for a reason. Let's start with the principle of impermanence, which lies at the very heart of Buddhism. Nothing in life is permanent. Everything changes. The seasons, our emotions, relationships, even our own bodies. This principle, called anicca, or impermanence, is one of the fundamental truths of existence. Suffering arises when we resist this reality. We often want joyful moments to last forever and try to push difficulties away as quickly as possible. But life, as Buddhism teaches, is a constant flow. The key isn't in clinging to what makes us happy or fighting the challenges we face. It's about embracing each moment as it comes, with calmness and understanding. Think of nature. A river doesn't stop or cling to one form. It flows effortlessly, without resistance. Similarly, a tree sheds its leaves in autumn, but doesn't mourn their loss. It trusts that spring will bring new ones. This same wisdom exists within us. We too can learn to release what no longer serves us. By accepting impermanence, we free ourselves. It allows us to enjoy the present moment without the weight of fearing its end, and teaches us that every challenge is temporary. Just as the seasons always change, so too do the phases of our lives. True peace doesn't come from avoiding change. It's found in flowing with it. When we stop fighting reality and begin to live with a sense of detachment, a profound tranquility reveals itself, a form of peace that doesn't depend on external circumstances. This is one of Buddhism's greatest teachings, the freedom that comes from accepting impermanence. But there's another layer to this philosophy, the law of cause and effect, or karma. According to Buddhism, nothing in life happens by chance. Every action, thought, and word we express generates consequences, even if those consequences aren't immediately visible. Karma isn't about divine reward or punishment. It's simply a natural law, much like gravity. Everything we do creates energy, and that energy eventually returns to us in some form. Picture this. You throw a stone into a lake. The ripples it creates expand in all directions, distorting the surface of the water. Similarly, our actions create ripples that not only affect our own lives, but also the lives of those around us. Some effects are immediate, while others may take years, or even lifetimes, to manifest. But the essential truth remains: everything we do leaves a mark. Karma also extends beyond our actions to include our thoughts and emotions. Someone filled with hatred and resentment, even if they never act outwardly on those feelings, still generates negative energy that shapes their reality. Conversely, someone who cultivates compassion and patience, even in the face of difficulty, can create an atmosphere of peace, not just within themselves, but for those around them as well. Ultimately, the quality of our lives is determined by the quality of our actions and our thoughts. It's easy to notice seeming contradictions in life. Sometimes, those who act wrongly appear to escape consequences, while others who do good face hardship. But Buddhism explains that karma isn't always immediate. It's like planting seeds. Some sprout quickly, while others take time to bear fruit. This perspective encourages us to look deeper, to see how each of our choices matters, even if the results of those choices aren't apparent right away. Above all, karma teaches us about personal responsibility. It invites us to reflect on how our own actions and decisions contribute to the circumstances we encounter. By recognizing this, we reclaim the power to shape our paths and find meaning in the interconnected flow of life. If we look deeper, we can see how our own actions have contributed to our current situation. This doesn't mean we should punish ourselves or sink into guilt. Instead, it's about recognizing that we hold the power to change our lives by transforming our actions and thoughts. In Buddhism, there's a story that illustrates this concept beautifully. A disciple once asked his teacher why some people are born into poverty while others seem to live in abundance. "Why is it that some appear lucky," he asked, "while others struggle?" The teacher replied with an analogy. "If you plant apple seeds, you will harvest apples. If you plant thorn seeds, you will harvest thorns." In essence, each life is the result of countless past actions. And even more significantly, our decisions in the present moment are planting the seeds of our future. It's crucial to understand that karma doesn't imply resignation or fatalism. We are not prisoners of an unchangeable fate. On the contrary, we are empowered to transform our reality with every choice we make. If we've caused suffering to ourselves or others in the past, Buddhism teaches us that the opportunity to change is always available. We can choose to act with wisdom and compassion, and those choices ripple outward into the universe, much like the ripples in a lake. What's remarkable about karma is its application through three main pathways: thought, word, and action. Even something as intangible as a thought can hold incredible power. A thought born out of hatred might seem fleeting or insignificant, but if nourished, it can grow into hurtful words and then harmful actions. Conversely, a thought rooted in love or gratitude can transform the way we speak and act, creating harmony not just for ourselves, but for those around us. This is where the practice of mindfulness becomes transformative. Mindfulness allows us to observe our thoughts, words, and actions with honesty. By paying close attention, we begin to notice patterns that either perpetuate suffering or foster happiness. For example, a cycle of reacting with anger to challenges may create an environment of tension, attracting even more conflict. But if we consciously break that cycle by responding with calm and understanding, we lay the groundwork for a more peaceful reality. The teachings on karma also remind us of its collective impact. Our individual decisions ripple outward, influencing our family, our community, and even the world at large. Acts fueled by generosity and empathy not only improve our own lives, but also shape a more harmonious existence for everyone around us. One vital aspect of karma that's often overlooked is intention. It's not simply the action itself that matters, but the motivation behind it. Helping someone for personal gain carries a different energy than helping someone out of genuine care and selflessness. Even if the action appears the same outwardly, the internal drivers make all the difference. This is why Buddhism emphasizes being mindful of the intentions behind everything we do. Consider how transformative this awareness can be. By realigning our motives, we can generate positive energy both for ourselves and for others. Throughout life, we accumulate countless experiences and habits that shape who we are, but the past does not define us. Each day offers a new opportunity to plant seeds of kindness, honesty, and compassion. It doesn't matter how many mistakes we've made before. What matters is our willingness to begin anew. If we wish to shift our karma, we don't need to make dramatic, sweeping changes. Sometimes, small steps can create the most profound impacts. Choosing kinder words in tense situations, offering help without expecting anything in return, or practicing honesty in day-to-day interactions These actions might seem simple, but carry transformative potential. Small acts of goodness often have effects we cannot immediately see, creating ripples of positivity that extend far beyond their point of origin. This continuous cycle of cause and effect is what makes karma such a powerful force in reshaping our lives in alignment with purpose, peace, and connection. Karma reminds us that we are the creators of our lives. This doesn't mean we can control everything, but we do have the power to choose how we respond to what life presents to us. Every decision we make is another step on the path toward a fuller and more meaningful existence. By understanding the law of cause and effect, we move away from seeing ourselves as victims of fate. Instead, we embrace the mindset of responsibility, which empowers us to lead our lives with greater intent. This shift also opens the door to living with more peace and confidence. Accepting karma as part of life allows us to view every experience, yes, even the difficult ones, through a lens of growth. Rather than asking, "Why is this happening to me?" we begin to ask, "What can I learn from this?" With this simple but profound change in perspective, obstacles transform into valuable lessons, guiding us closer toward a greater understanding of life. Ultimately, everything we do will come back to us, not as punishment, not as an arbitrary reward, but as the natural result of our choices. When this truth becomes clear, our actions are infused with wisdom and a sense of mindfulness, carving a life path that is more harmonious and well-balanced. These teachings also tie into another foundational concept in Buddhism, the link between attachment and suffering, a concept deeply intertwined with karma. Buddhism teaches that much of the pain we experience in life arises from our attachments. We cling to people, possessions, emotions, and even ideas with the hope that these things will bring us happiness. But here's the profound truth: nothing in life is permanent. Whenever the things we desire shift or disappear, we feel discomfort, sadness, and sometimes even profound loss. The issue with attachment lies in its tendency to make our sense of happiness dependent on external factors. For example, we might believe that without a certain relationship, job, or other condition, we cannot possibly feel peace or fulfillment. But the reality is that basing our serenity on things outside of our control makes suffering inevitable. So, what's the solution? Letting go. But letting go, as Buddhism teaches, doesn't mean we stop loving or stop valuing what is important to us. It means we stop clinging. It means learning how to enjoy people and moments without the desperate need to possess them. A love free from attachment is not a love that seeks control or permanence. Rather, it's a love that flows freely, with acceptance and grace. When we practice letting go, something remarkable happens. We find a sense of freedom we didn't know was possible. Letting go liberates us from the fear of loss. It allows us to enjoy the present moment fully, without the weight of anxiety or the desperate desire to make things last forever. Beyond that, it teaches us that we can live with lightness, free from the constant struggle to hold tightly onto fleeting moments of happiness. True peace, then, comes from understanding that we do not need to cling to life or its circumstances. By accepting the impermanence of everything, we free ourselves from unnecessary suffering and open up space to live with greater fullness. The wisdom that Buddhism offers here is deeply connected with the notion of acceptance. Life rarely unfolds exactly as we imagine it will. From a young age, many of us are taught to strive, to set goals, to work hard, and to resist anything that doesn't go according to our plans. While striving toward meaningful goals is valuable, we are not often taught about the other side of the coin, the power of acceptance. Acceptance, in the Buddhist sense, isn't synonymous with resignation. It doesn't mean surrendering to circumstances or giving up on our dreams. Instead, it's about flowing with life, rather than fighting against it. This wisdom of acceptance is a key ingredient in crafting a sense of inner peace, even when outer circumstances are turbulent or unexpected. So, how do we learn to flow with life? Stay with us as we explore this further. Acceptance doesn't mean giving up or surrendering to difficulties. Instead, it's a state of clarity, a way of recognizing reality for what it truly is, without judgment or rejection. It's about releasing the need for things to be different, finding peace with what already exists instead. Often, our suffering arises not from the situations we face, but from how we resist them. When something doesn't go our way, we become frustrated. When someone's actions don't meet our expectations, we feel angry. And when circumstances shift, we cling to the past. But life moves forward, whether we approve or not. Resistance, then, becomes a source of pain, while acceptance allows us to flow through life with a sense of peace. In Buddhism, this cycle of resistance and acceptance is interwoven with the idea that everything in life is part of a web of causes and conditions. Nothing happens without reason, even if that reason isn't immediately clear. These teachings encourage us to approach challenges differently, not by asking, "Why is this happening to me?" but instead, "What can I learn from this?" With this perspective, we begin to see each experience as a teacher, offering insight and lessons to guide us. There's a well-known Zen story that embodies this idea. It's about a farmer who owned a single horse. One day, the horse ran away. The farmer's neighbors came to console him, describing this event as a great misfortune. But the farmer only responded, "Who knows if this is good or bad?" A few days later, the horse returned, bringing several wild horses back with it. His neighbors celebrated his good fortune, but once again the farmer humbly said, "Who knows if this is good or bad?" Not long after, the farmer's son attempted to tame one of the wild horses but fell and broke his leg. Once more, the neighbors commiserated with the farmer for his bad luck. And once again, he simply replied, "Who knows if this is good or bad?" Weeks later, the army came into the village to draft young men for war, but left the farmer's son behind because of his injury. Over time, what seemed bad turned out to bring good, and what seemed good may have brought misfortune. Life is a constant flow, and its true nature often only reveals itself when viewed from a distance. This story reminds us of an important truth. Accepting reality doesn't mean inaction or complacency. When something causes suffering and change is within our power, we should act. However, when something lies beyond our control, fighting against it will only amplify that suffering. Wisdom is knowing the difference, knowing when to take action and when to embrace acceptance. Meditation and mindfulness are invaluable tools in cultivating this wisdom. When we meditate, we practice observing our thoughts without judgment or an urge to alter them. We come to see emotions as passing clouds, ephemeral and ever-changing. This practice strengthens our ability to face life's situations with serenity and clarity. Over time, this mindset brings greater calmness, allowing us to accept both life's chaos and its quiet moments with equal grace. One of the hardest aspects of this journey is learning to accept others as they are. Much of our suffering stems from the desire to change people, to make them more loving, to think like we do, to behave in ways that meet our expectations. But just as we are our own unique beings, others have their own paths, processes, and growth. When we let go of the desire to control or change others, we release a significant source of internal conflict. Acceptance invites us to approach relationships with compassion and patience, instead of demands or resistance. Through this practice, we not only find more harmony within ourselves, but we also create space for others to fully be themselves, fostering more genuine and meaningful connections. Life, after all, flows like a river, sometimes turbulent, sometimes serene. When we learn to flow with it, we discover a path to inner peace. Acceptance doesn't mean approving everything that happens or tolerating harmful behavior. For example, if someone treats us poorly, acceptance doesn't mean we condone their actions. Instead, it means acknowledging the reality of who they are without expecting them to change in order for us to find peace. Rather than resisting reality or other people, we can shift our focus to deciding how we want to respond. This small but powerful mindset shift can transform our relationships with others and with ourselves. It's equally important to learn how to accept ourselves. Often, we are our own harshest critics. We punish ourselves for past mistakes or hold tightly to the belief that we should be different, better, faster, stronger, or more accomplished. But self-compassion is essential to personal well-being. Accepting ourselves doesn't mean we stop striving for improvement, but it does mean we stop engaging in an inner battle against who we are. It's about treating ourselves with the same kindness and understanding we might extend to a close friend. When we stop fighting our own imperfections and instead approach ourselves with patience, we foster an environment for genuine growth and lasting peace. Change is inevitable. Over the course of our lives, we'll face losses, failures, and disappointments. Yet, we will also experience love, joy, new opportunities, and unexpected growth. Life is, however, a balancing act between challenging moments and joyful ones. When we learn to accept both the good and the bad with the same calmness, we discover a peace that isn't dependent on a particular set of circumstances. Acceptance liberates us from the emotional burden of resistance. It allows us to stop carrying the weight of constant struggle and instead meet each moment with heartfelt gratitude. Think of it this way. When we stop arguing with reality and simply take life as it is, happiness becomes less about controlling every aspect of our experience and more about flowing with the rhythm of what life offers us. This practice of letting go and accepting begins with small, everyday moments. We can practice it by accepting the irritation of traffic without succumbing to frustration, by being at peace with rainy weather, disrupting our plans, or by giving understanding to the fact that those around us have their own processes and timelines. These seemingly minor practices prepare us for life's larger, more inevitable shifts, helping us navigate major changes with wisdom and calm. True freedom doesn't lie in controlling the world, but in learning how to navigate life's uncertainties with grace. Acceptance gives us that freedom. It allows us to live lighter, more confident lives infused with inner peace, peace that flows freely, regardless of the external circumstances. But what happens when life delivers setbacks that seem insurmountable? How do we find balance when faced with hardship? This is where another profound Buddhist teaching comes into focus: finding the hidden lessons embedded in adversities. Throughout life, we face moments that feel unbearably difficult: losses, illness, heartbreaks, or failures. These events often seem chaotic and unfair, leading us to respond with resistance or anger. However, if we step back and view these experiences with curiosity rather than hostility, we may begin to uncover their deeper purpose. Buddhism reminds us that nothing in life is meaningless. Every moment, no matter how dark, carries the potential for wisdom if we are open to understanding its lesson. One of Buddhism's core principles is the interdependence of all things. Nothing occurs in isolation. Everything arises as the result of a web of interconnected causes and conditions. Many of the obstacles we experience, while painful, are often vital steps in our own growth. What seems like an overwhelming challenge today may be paving the way for unexpected possibilities tomorrow. In this way, what hurts us now could ultimately contribute to our resilience, self-awareness, or future joy. A famous Buddhist story beautifully illustrates this idea. It speaks of a disciple who encountered a caterpillar struggling to emerge from its cocoon. Seeing its effort, the disciple felt compelled to help. He gently opened the cocoon with his hands, expecting to free the struggling creature. But when the butterfly emerged, it could not fly. Its wings were weak and undeveloped. What the disciple didn't understand was that the struggle to escape the cocoon was a necessary step for the butterfly's growth. The effort itself strengthened its wings, preparing it for the freedom of flight. Without the struggle, the butterfly was not ready. Like that butterfly, we often need challenges to develop the strength we require for the next chapter of our journey. Suffering, as difficult as it may seem, can be one of our greatest teachers, if we are willing to listen to it. It urges us to look inward, to evaluate our lives, and to grow in unexpected ways. In Buddhism, suffering isn't just a random occurrence. It's a signpost, pointing us toward the areas of ourselves that need healing or transformation. Often, our struggles reveal our weaknesses, but they also provide the chance to turn those weaknesses into strengths. Each challenge we face offers us a choice: to remain stuck in our pain or to use that pain as fuel for personal growth and transformation. In life, we don't always get what we want, but Buddhism teaches that we often get what we need to evolve. Consider the bittersweet lessons life gives us. The end of a relationship may teach us the value of independence. A professional setback may point us toward a new and better direction, or a health scare may remind us to prioritize the well-being of our body and mind. These moments, though painful, are not meaningless. They are filled with purpose, if we are open to recognizing it. However, the understanding of that purpose often comes with time. What feels like a tragedy or misfortune today might turn out to be one of the greatest opportunities of our lives once we see it in hindsight. The key is to avoid getting lost in despair or complaints, and instead to trust that everything happens for a reason, even when the reason isn't immediately clear. Buddhism encourages us to reframe every experience, especially the difficult ones, as opportunities for growth. Instead of cursing the storm that disrupts our plans, we can ask ourselves, what can this storm teach me? Is it calling for greater patience? Is it helping us to let go of control? Or perhaps it is preparing us for something even greater to come. The human mind has a natural tendency to resist pain. We instinctively want to avoid it, suppress it, or get rid of it as quickly as possible. But pain, when faced with awareness and acceptance, has the power to transform us. It's like fire burning away the impurities in gold, leaving behind only the purest essence. Similarly, the pain we experience can uncover areas within ourselves that need attention, care, and growth. For instance, when criticism deeply affects us, it might reveal an area where our self-esteem requires nurturing. If a loss leaves us shattered, it may be a moment to learn how to let go, not with bitterness, but with love and gratitude for what was. Difficult emotions, when explored with mindfulness, can show us the parts of ourselves that are crying out to be understood and healed. Acceptance of adversity doesn't mean passively surrendering to it. Instead, it asks us to see these hardships as teachers on our journey. Every obstacle we face can be seen as either a curse or an opportunity, and the interpretation we choose defines how we experience it. A helpful practice, suggested by Buddhist teachings, is to reflect on past struggles. Take time to write down the most difficult moments you've faced in life. Then, examine them through the lens of growth. What have you learned from these experiences? What strengths did you develop because of them? You may find that the same events that brought you anguish also gifted you with compassion, resilience, or wisdom. Even the most painful events can carry profound meaning if we are willing to look at them through the eyes of a learner. This simple exercise has the power to shift our mindset toward growth and gratitude. Ultimately, when we trust that everything in life happens for a reason, we can approach challenges with more calmness and curiosity. Life's difficulties cease to feel like random misfortunes and begin to resemble chapters in a larger story of growth and transformation. Like the caterpillar struggling in its cocoon, we too must endure discomfort to develop the wings we'll need for the next stage of our lives. And with each setback, we inch closer to clarity, to understanding, and to inner peace. Trust in the process, and remember, as always, here at the Mind Forge, we are crafting brilliance, one thought at a time. Instead of asking ourselves, "Why me?" we can shift our perspective to ask, "What for?" This simple yet profound change transforms our relationship with suffering. It allows us to approach adversity as an opportunity for growth, rather than as a source of overwhelming pain. Life's lessons are rarely easy, but they are always valuable. Every experience, no matter how challenging, is preparing us for greater understanding, resilience, or strength. When we learn to see obstacles as stepping stones rather than roadblocks, we stop fearing them. Instead, we start welcoming them as an integral part of our evolutionary process. Remember, in the grand design of the universe, nothing occurs by mere chance. Each difficult moment is a gateway to a new realm of understanding, so long as we have the courage to walk through it. This concept ties deeply into one of Buddhism's most practical gifts to everyday life, the practice of mindfulness. Mindfulness is about living fully in the present moment, embracing life as it unfolds without being consumed by distractions. The human mind has a natural tendency to wander, oscillating between memories of the past and anxieties about the future. Often, we become lost in nostalgia or regret, revisiting old wounds or clinging to experiences that no longer exist. At other times, our minds leap ahead, creating scenarios or expectations that may never come to pass. These constant fluctuations prevent us from experiencing the richness of the only moment that truly exists, the now. In Buddhism, mindfulness isn't just about meditative practice. It's a way of living, a conscious effort to anchor ourselves in the present. It's about participating fully in whatever we're doing, no matter how simple. Eating mindfully, for instance, means savoring each bite, not rushing through a meal without even noticing the flavors or textures. Listening mindfully means giving someone your undivided attention, rather than waiting for your turn to speak. Walking mindfully means feeling the ground beneath your feet, the rhythm of each step, the whisper of the wind against your skin. It's a reminder to experience life directly, instead of existing in a perpetual state of distraction. Modern life often pulls us in countless directions at once. We glance at our phones while conversing with loved ones, think about tomorrow's workload while sitting with family, or replay worries in our minds while eating dinner. This fragmentation of attention prevents us from fully enjoying our moments and adds unnecessary stress to our lives. But mindfulness can bring us back. It can help us reclaim the now. This practice empowers us to approach each moment with a sense of awareness and gratitude, rediscovering the joy in the ordinary. One way Buddhism explains the mind is through the metaphor of the restless monkey. Our thoughts, like the movements of a monkey, jump from branch to branch, always moving, rarely still. Meditation, a fundamental part of mindfulness, is the training ground for taming that monkey mind. At first, it might feel nearly impossible to quiet your thoughts, but as you practice, you become more aware of them. This awareness is not about controlling or suppressing your thoughts, but learning to direct your attention intentionally. A foundational mindfulness exercise is as simple as focusing on your breath. Observe the way the air enters through your nose and leaves through your mouth. Don't try to change your breathing, just notice it. When your mind inevitably wanders, gently guide it back to your breath. This action, though simple, has transformative power. It roots you firmly in the present moment, where stress and worry cannot thrive. Over time, this exercise strengthens your ability to concentrate and strengthens your awareness. It's important to understand that mindfulness isn't about eliminating all thoughts. Instead, it's about developing a different relationship with them. You learn to observe your thoughts without judgment, seeing them as passing clouds rather than unshakable truths. This shift allows you to live with more peace and clarity. As mindfulness becomes a habit, you'll notice a greater sense of presence, even in the busiest or most challenging moments. Here at the Mind Forge, we encourage you to embrace mindfulness, not as a fleeting trend, but as a core part of your journey toward inner peace. Crafting brilliance begins with crafting the present, one intentional moment at a time. Mindfulness doesn't require us to eliminate our thoughts or suppress them. It invites us to observe them without getting entangled. Imagine your mind as the vast sky and your thoughts as clouds drifting by. You don't need to hold on to any cloud, nor do you need to chase it away. Instead, you simply observe it and let it pass. This practice reminds us that many of our worries are not as weighty as they seem. Often, suffering arises when we're trapped in thoughts about the past, replaying regrets, or the future, imagining problems that haven't yet come to pass. But when we learn to anchor ourselves in the present moment, we discover a peace that isn't tied to external circumstances. One of the most transformative aspects of mindfulness is how it helps us respond thoughtfully instead of reacting impulsively. So often, we find ourselves acting out of anger, fear, or frustration in the heat of the moment. These automatic reactions can perpetuate our stress and complicate our relationships. But through mindfulness, we carve out the space to pause, reflect, and choose how we want to respond. This small shift makes a profound difference, allowing us to approach life's challenges with calmness and clarity. In Buddhism, there's a beautiful teaching that every moment is an opportunity to awaken. We don't need a special retreat or a perfectly quiet meditation space to cultivate mindfulness. Every ordinary moment, whether we're washing our hands, sipping tea, or listening to the birds outside, can become a chance to practice presence. Life, after all, is happening right now. And when we truly understand the value of each moment, we begin to treat these moments with reverence. Many people place their happiness in a distant future, thinking it is something they will achieve once they land their dream job, find the perfect relationship, or reach a particular milestone. But happiness doesn't reside in some far-off tomorrow. It lives in how we choose to live in the present moment. If we don't nurture mindfulness now, we might find ourselves endlessly chasing a future that never quite arrives. Mindfulness offers us a chance to savor happiness as it is, for what it is. In the here and now, living with mindfulness brings a new depth to our experience of life. It sharpens our awareness and lets us notice the intricate beauty of things we once overlooked. The sound of a breeze, the taste of a meal, or the warmth of a smile becomes more vivid when we're fully present. Beyond that, mindfulness equips us to face difficulties with less drama and more clarity. It doesn't mean life will be free of challenges, but it allows us to engage with those challenges without being overwhelmed by them. Getting started with mindfulness doesn't require drastic life changes. You can integrate it into your day with small, meaningful shifts. For instance, try taking a few conscious breaths each morning when you wake up. Allow yourself to greet the day without rushing into thoughts about your tasks or worries. When having a meal, practice appreciating every bite instead of eating mindlessly or multitasking. Take the time to listen to someone with your entire presence, without planning your next response. These small acts accumulate over time, turning mindfulness into an enduring habit that deeply transforms your way of living. Mindfulness is not some lofty, abstract concept reserved for moments of solitude. It's a practical tool, a path to finding peace amidst the mess and chaos of daily life. It's a gentle reminder that the life we crave isn't hidden in the past or stored away in the future. It's unfolding in the present, right here and now. When we embrace mindfulness as a way of being, happiness stops feeling like something out of reach. Instead, it becomes something we can touch and hold in this very moment. This practice doesn't just shape how we experience daily life. It also lays the foundation for cultivating a peaceful, centered mind. And that brings us to Buddhism's teachings on mastering the mind. As we'll explore further, transforming the mind allows us to move from pain to enlightenment. It shows us that it's not what happens to us, but how we interpret those events that shapes the quality of our lives. Stay with us as we continue this journey of discovery here on the Mind Forge, where we're crafting brilliance, one thought at a time. The path to enlightenment isn't a distant, unreachable place. It's a way of living here and now, anchored in mindfulness and self-awareness. By letting go of our attachments to negative thoughts, by choosing to see suffering as a teacher rather than an adversary, and by cultivating inner peace, we can begin to transform our minds, and, with it, our reality. Buddhism reminds us that freedom doesn't rely on external circumstances. Instead, it flourishes when we master our own perspective, choosing growth over resistance and serenity over chaos. Every small mindful practice brings us closer to this transformation, showing us that enlightenment is not a final destination, but a way of truly being present in life. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the profound wisdom of Buddhism. Our hope is that these teachings have inspired you to embrace new perspectives, face life's challenges with calmness, and cultivate your own path to inner peace. Here at the Mind Forge, crafting brilliance starts with crafting our minds, one thought at a time. If you found value in today's video, we invite you to help us grow this community. Subscribe to our channel and activate notifications so you'll never miss future explorations into meaningful ideas and transformative practices. We'd also love to know how these teachings resonate with you. Share your thoughts in the comments below, whether it's an insight, an experience, or a question. What part of today's journey spoke to you the most? Your reflections not only contribute to a wider dialogue, but also help others connect with these teachings on a deeper level. And remember, as you move forward, let's continue exploring and growing together. Everything happens for a reason. See you in the next video, here on The Mind Forge, where we're crafting brilliance, one thought at a time. Don't forget to like and subscribe.